Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing Rogue Mage, and obviously this is my guy's first games on the good old fashioned Mage. And overall we did pretty good, not too bad overall. But if you guys didn't notice, for some reason today the server was really laggy. I think everyone was lagging a little bit, like 200 world ping, and then FPS wise was terrible too. Sometimes with the UI it'll have this random UI bug for a little bit that just sucks. So here what we're going to do is we're going to set up the shaman and then he's going to pre-DB the warrior, and pretty much that's how our opener is going to start. I don't know if we messed up the opener. No, with I have my tech ability on shift middle mouse, so sometimes it's a little awkward when I hit it, and you never want to hit your tech whenever they're stacked because for some reason it's an AoE ability. So you never can have it stacked. So basically, you never get to use it as Rogue Mage unless like you get a lucky non-stacker. But anybody who's playing it versus the Rogue right now just stack, and they never get to use their tech ability. And if they do, they just break all the CC that your teammate does. So here we end up getting Trinket, and at this point we're just gonna Vanish. I'm running the reset ability Vanish build, so I get more utility. I do miss out on a little bit of damage, but with the utility build, it's a lot better. My guy is gonna end up pre-sheeping. So I end up cheap shotting, and then he ends up getting an insane good old fashioned non-cheap. We do take those. So we end up getting a really bad go here, which kind of sucked. So there, my guy would have sheeped, and then we would have been chilling. I think he was a little bit behind, but it is what it is. So at this point, I still have blind. So my guy's probably going to DB. I actually end up blinding, and we end up getting a really good swap here. Because I realized that, it wasn't we were not looking really good. I end up sapping. So here, you would rather want a sheep off the weir, but sap works too for enrage. Because if my guy tried to cast a sheep, at that point he would have just got kicked, so it was pretty useless. We ended up getting double Trinky out, and my guy does not have block. He does have bust coming back up, so at this point, we're just going to either pre-sheep the warrior or just cheap shot the shaman, because now warriors don't have blade storm, so it's not like they can pre anything other than like D-stance. So my guy ends up DB sheeping. I'm end up rooting, so I end up using smoke bomb not to get a hex, because if I'm sitting a full hex, that's not good. So I end up cheap shotting. He ends up pre-fearing like a god. My guy ends up getting the sheep. I almost broke it because I didn't think he'd get it while the warrior was right on him, and we end up killing him. So the fire is getting buffed. Like right now, I'd say fire is terrible still, even after the mini buff that it gave. Like the max power blast that my guy's hitting right now is like 40s, and trust me, compared to other classes like an arcane, how hard it's hitting, it's like hopefully the bust, the 12% on the power bust and that stuff, make it at least hit for like 60 to 80 Ks, and that'll be a huge difference, especially now that Rogue's getting 3% nerfs on every ability. So I'm not going to be doing anywhere near as much. 3% isn't that big, but it's big enough to where it's like you're never going to be able to kill anything by yourself. Like, unless I was playing at like 1500, if you're like doing like carries would be really rough unless my teammate like actually was helping. So I end up bombing. So this is a really good strat versus the rest of the druids to where we end up not getting anything because my guy's obviously bust overall. Doesn't do much. So we end up getting about 130. Even with my damage combined, it just was not enough. Even with blades. Now, the reason I didn't secret technique is obviously because it would have broke the druid's Ryang. So in the good old-fashioned dragon flute, you cannot be doing it. So this situation, you are going to wait it out and pretty much either DB ring the druid or I can cheap shot him. So I end up just blinding here. I end up getting Trinket from both of them. So Trinket and Iron Barking and Tranquility. Every cooldown in the book that is physically possible. My guy ends up sheeping so I can get a resell. My guy forgot to put down Fudiante, so I'm not in a good spot at this situation. So no food equals no HP, and no HP equals death. So at this point, we need one more solid. We have combustion, but you guys got to remember that combust doesn't do anything nowadays. And the shield heal only does like 200k healing, I'm pretty sure now, so it doesn't even get you to full from 0. Now, if you start from like 40% or 30%, it does. I end up seeing the druid, so I could have possibly sapped. He ends up pre-darknessing air, so it could have been a pre-darkness, but it ended up, not being a good darkness. So in this situation, I still have vanish. Now, you could instantly vanish, which I do, so I pre-vanished the hunt. So this situation, we should win. This should be 100% win chance right there. There's no situation where we should lose. With my blades, I end up cool blooding, and he actually survives. So this is what happens when you're playing with a fire mage instead of an arcane mage. and we end up not killing a DH. So this is one of the most classiest classes in the game, and we couldn't get him past 20% with an entire combustion. So he ends up surviving. At this point, I'm pretty much dead unless my guy like starts pre-shaping. And at this point, I'm dying. I'm getting really low. All the druid has to do is keep on me, and I'm dead. Which the druid's gonna open on me. He's bringing Feral Affinity as well, so he's gonna get that extra amount of bleed dam. Thankfully, you always want your Slice and Dice up, and the reason is you're gonna healing off that. So I end up blinding here, and this is like our last chance to win. Like I'm at with 0 HP. I end up sapping off the blind, getting an insane sap, and we end up actually getting an insane kill. Our first kill of the day. Just kidding, but you know what I mean. Evoker. No, I think Evokers, the fact that they didn't get a nerf is really irritating. I think healers in general should all be getting buffed by a huge amount. Like, it's crazy how healers are healing. Like, I wouldn't, like, the reason healers aren't in solo queue in this queue so long is because no healer wants to play solo queue, and I wouldn't either. I mean, they'd have to buff every healer other than Wrestle Druid and Evoker by 20% in order for anything else to want to queue. It's that crazy. It's that broken how damaged, like DHs, Warriors, Windwalkers, Assassination Rogues, Arcane Mages. I mean, overall, just every class is doing way too much damage. Like, either give them burst damage or give them consistent damage. You can't have both. Like, Fury Warrior has both, and that should never be the case. And then also with the MS is too hard. It's too, like, DK MS and Weird MS stacks. So on top of that, you're going at 70% the entire game. It's just not going to happen. So here we end up getting Trinket. I end up blinding. This is where we get the second Trinket. And honestly, he probably could have hold. We didn't have anywhere close to enough damage to get it. Even with the meteor coming down, he probably would have only been at like 30% at that point. He's not going to die. Thankfully, we end up getting good old-fashioned. We get trinkets. So at that point, we're just going to kill the evoker and hope that we have enough damage. But you know, with the fire buff, right now I'm like around 17. I'm telling you, I get a headache at 1700. Usually at 1700, I would just be able to close my eyes and win because you know the people are backpedaling in my face. But right now, the games are actually kind of like if you're not playing with somebody that's super experienced and that's been playing. So I really never get to use secret technique, as you can see, because they're always stacked. I end up spacing the stun. Well, obviously all of the DRs were off. And that's how crazy it is. Not having Mark for Death as a rogue is sucks so much, especially in the opener. Because you're forced to cheap shot. And on cheap shots, it's so bad. Especially with the 20%, you know, ratio that everyone's getting. It's just, oh my god. It's so annoying. So I end up opening. Usually when I face rogues, I end up opening. And then when the rogue opens on me, he's just going to DB like this. And then he's going to sheep the evoker. I kidney. This is another situation where I don't get to use secret technique. We do get trinket. We're going to swap to the evoker for a second. Try to do as much damage. He ends up now here. I shouldn't have trinketed. Now I got really scared because I'm used to, you know, assassin. Like even though I trinket cloaked at 100%, I almost died. I got down to 20%. So if I probably held for another second and he got the advantage off and he got another venom, I probably would have been dead even through everything. So I'm actually kind of glad I trinketed there because I probably would have been dead even through whatever else I had. But yeah, I was definitely toast. He ends up getting knocked back into a. It was like the most crazy. My guy like set me up on that one. I don't know if he knocked him back. I'm pretty sure he knocked him in mid blades, and that's how he got me out. So he ends up pre-kitting me on the sheep, so that sucks. So we don't get any relevant out of that. So at this point, what we could do is I could blind the rogue and we could go evoker, or I could just blind the rogue off the sheep. At that point, we're just gonna save the DR and just wait. My guy still has block, so it's like no need of a hurry right now. I can just go eat and have a good time. The druid ends up, or the evoker ends up going across the map with his flying ability because it's basically a wannabe DH nowadays. So this guy ends up flying legit across the map. I'm talking about from my teammate to me. He just flew across the map. And at this point, we're gonna sap him here. Now the problem with sapping him there is really bad. Now I thought the rogue was, or I thought we would have got the rogue back out, but my guy ends up getting him out. Now here, I don't know what the evoker was thinking, but I guess he was trying to hold trinket. Look at this. He had the balls of steel. He held. I ended up shadowy doing him last second. So right as he was gonna trinket, I knew he was gonna trinket like last second. Now if they trinket instantly, there you would either cheap shot the evoker for the DR cheap, or just shadowy duel as soon as he trinkets. But we end up getting the dub. He ends up actually trinketing later. So had he done it instantly, he probably would have survived using his time stop and all that good stuff. We end up getting the W, and we love these games. Now, hunters right now do a lot of damage. Survival hunters are probably S tier right now, 100%. They just hit really hard. Now, if there anybody that can sit on you that hard it's not a fun time. So this guy ends up using his Nelf. So I could have sapped him here, but it's pretty useless, especially when we're going the hunter. So what you're going to do here is you're going to save the ring for the pet. So as you can see, my guy's going to double DB. He's going to ring the pet. I end up having to vanish the root here. So after ringing the pet, my guy would need to sheep the priest. The priest ends up not doing death. So I guess he forgot what that ability was. We end up proccing his guardian, so he doesn't get that 1 minute guardian or whatever. So he ends up having a 3 minute guardian, or I don't even know. I haven't seen a holy priest in decades, so no idea. So at this point, we got Trinket, we got Guardian. He still has Pet Sec, so basically you want to try to CC on every go. Now, this situation, I could blind the pet and then sheep shot the priest for a sheep. So I thought my guy was honestly going to sheep the priest, but he misses the ring. So as you can see, double casting, and he still missed it. So very unfortunate. My guy misses the ring twice, so that was kind of embarrassing for my mans, but you gotta remember this is like his first time playing Mage after a minute. So I wasn't really, honestly, I didn't really care that much. So this hunter is on me like no other person I've ever seen in my life. He's basically like a Fury Warrior. So at this point, we're not looking great. My guy ends up sheeping him after the death. Let's see, how did he get out? He trinkets, and then I blind him. And then he gets out of my trinket. Hello, game is bad. Game is awful. So I'm pretty sure he's using an auto trinket. So he trinkets the poly and then trinkets again, which he's not even using the auto trinket, which means he just legit cheated. I'm saying it now. I'm saying it. I'm tired of this game. He didn't death it either because he deathed the last one. So you guys can let me know how he trinketed second. So if you look back, he trinket the sheep. How did he get out of my blind? And he didn't have death. And he's not running auto trinket because if he was, he wouldn't be able to rock the regular trinket. So you guys let me know, what is he running right now to break my blind? Because right there we would have won. That would have been GG. So I'm very, very confused, and I honestly watched it back a few times, and I still don't understand. Now you guys will probably come up with some smart answer, and if I see that smart answer, I'm going to pin you and, not give you any gold because I'm broke nowadays. I can't even do carries because this rogue spec is terrible. I can't even kill anybody in a stun anymore. So, like, even on full CDs, he ends up surviving here. Do I end up losing this game? What? Alright, bye, boys.